Da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum. What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back here today for another game review. And today I'm very excited to check out Timeline, Music and Cinema, the standalone / expansion to the popular series Timeline from Asmodee. This for ages 8 plus will take you about 15 minutes to play. It's for 2 to 8 players. So in Timeline, you are going to be trying to figure out when something happened. In this particular version of the game, you're trying to figure out when famous songs and movies were released. When I say when it happened, I mean did it happen before or after various different other movies and TV shows and musical songs were released. What am I talking about? Let's open it up and I'll tell you. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Timeline, Music, and Cinema. First and foremost, we got our handy dandy rule sheet. I don't know, it's about 7-8 pages, double-sided, full color. Very simple, easy game, well done rule book. It'll have you up and running in no time at all, and I can probably teach you how to play the game right now. So before we get started, I do want to mention Timeline, Music, and Cinema is a standalone game, which, as I will show you, you can play just by itself, or it is an expansion, which means you can add all these cards in with another version of the game, and they will work perfectly fine. So in Timeline, Music, and Cinema, you are going to have a hand of cards in front of you that are going to go face up like this. Face up means that you will not be able to see the year of when this came out or when this was invented. So for instance, Seven Samurai, you won't know what year it came out. Everyone's going to have 4 in front of them, and you're going to have a big old stack right here. This is the draw pile. Next, you're going to take the top card of the draw pile and put it in the middle of the table, face down, so you can see the year. So this is Back in Black, the popular AC/DC song, and it came out in 1980. You're going to randomly pick the first player, and what they're going to do on their turn, and what you're going to do on every corresponding turn, is you are going to take one of your cards, and you're going to put it either before or after a card on the table. So for instance, we'll see right here, we're going to take this Stairway to Heaven, the Led Zeppelin classic. I know that happened before 1980, so boom, we'll put it right there. And now it did happen, so it's in 1971. So now we have 2 cards out on the table. So let's just deal in a couple more players so you can get a feel for the game. So we got 3-player game going on here. So next, well, this guy looks up here. He's got Saturday Night Fever. He's got Rebel Without a Cause. He knows for a fact that happened before 1971. He plays that down. Boom, 1955. Next, this player is going to be going over here. He's got Sunday Bloody Sunday, the popular U2, which I think was 1982 maybe. Mamma Mia, the ABBA song, which I have no idea when that came out. Way of the Dragon, Bruce Lee, and then Money for Nothing, Dire Straits, which I think was maybe mid-80s. So I'm pretty sure Sunday Bloody Sunday came out in 1982, so boom, I put it right there. Oh, 83. I was close. By the way, U2, one of my top 5 bands of all time. Still, you don't have to guess the year correctly, you just have to put it in the right spot. It is correct. Now, what happens if you get it wrong? So let's say it's this guy's turn next. So he's got Singing in the Rain. You know, I think that happened in between, say, Stairway to Heaven and Back in Black. So we place the card there, flip it over, and of course, that is obviously wrong. It was in 1952. Which means this card goes back into the box. Everything gets put back in place. And the person draws a new card, which was Nevermind by Nirvana. 91, I'm guessing. Yes! Good. By the way, I'm pretty good at this version of the game, I do have to say. You have lost your turn, and it moves on to the next player. Anywho, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get rid of all of your cards. When a player loses all of their cards, you're going to finish out that round. If they're the only player who's lost all their cards, they win the game. If more than one player has lost all their cards, then only the players that have 0 cards continue on, or they draw 1 card and keep going on sort of a sudden death elimination thing, and you go until one person plays their card successfully, the other person does not, and that person will be the winner of Timeline, Music, and Cinema. And that, in a nutshell, is how the game is played. Alrighty then, Timeline from Asmodee. What are my final thoughts? Let's go with the pros, let's go with the cons. First, on the cons side, the game is not going to be for everybody, for a variety of different reasons. Now, it says ages 8 plus, and I take that one with a grain of salt. Now, a lot of them, I feel like younger kids really can kind of figure out, like, when was the cotton gin invented? When did the pyramids invented? All sorts of stuff like that. However, this one, when it comes to pop culture, it's going to be a lot more difficult for younger players to really get a grasp of this game. For instance, if they have no idea what the song Back in Black is by AC/DC, then what are they going to do? Seven Samurai, Stairway to Heaven, Thriller. You know, if they don't know anything about pop culture, if they So what I'm trying to say here is younger kids are going to have a lot more harder time playing this particular version of the game than other versions of the game, I feel, in my opinion at least. Also, micro cards, it has micro cards. I hate micro cards, but I understand it keeps the price down low, which is a good thing, but still, micro cards a little bit of a nuisance. Another thing I want to mention is this is probably my least favorite version of the game that I've tried. Now, granted, I think they've only played 3 versions of the game now, but I like this one the least because when you think about it, music and cinema has only been around for so long, There's the majority of these cards take place in the 1900s to the 2000s. And that's just how it is. Whereas when you get like inventions, you can go back to the 1500s, you can go back to BC, So I feel like this one has a lot more compressed, which makes it a little bit more difficult, and not in a good way. Honestly, if I were going to recommend the Timeline series, I would definitely recommend Inventions, and I believe it was Americana was the other one I tried, over this one. Not saying that this is a bad game, but it is something that I wanted to mention. Another comment I have with this game is that it's just glorified flashcards. There's no real paths to victory. There's no veering strategies. It's a very simple game. Last comment I have with this game is that if you go last, especially in a higher player count game, you are going to be at a disadvantage. Because if you go first, it's simple. All right, I have Back in Black. One of the 4 cards in front of me happened before that. One of it happened after that. It's pretty easy to find out. However, if you're going, say, 5th, 6th, 7th, or, God forbid, 8th, it's going to be very difficult because there's going to be a lot more cards on the board. It's going to make it substantially more difficult for you than it was for the first players. That is something that I did want to mention. Any other cons I have of the game? No, it sounds like I'm ragging on this game, and I'm not. Timeline, Music and Cinema is a fantastic game. I really enjoy this game, and I highly recommend this game if the concept sounds like it's fun to you. It works great as a filler game. It works great as a gateway game. It works as great as a game for people who don't even like games. It's got educational purposes in it. Now, this one is slightly less so than some of the other Timeline ones. I'm just saying that of the 3 Timelines that I've tried, I would recommend this one third, but it's still a great game. What else do I like about it? I like the artwork. The artwork's very fitting. They got the Thriller, they got the Michael Jackson. They're like, There's a lot of cards in the game, so you're not really going to see them pop up too terribly many times. And, it's a great expansion. It's just as simple as that. If you're looking at this as a standalone game, I'd recommend the other Timeline games. If you're looking at this as an expansion, this is a great one to add. It's just going to make it a little bit of a bigger twist. Which one was invented first? Gone with the Wind or the printing press? Fun stuff like that. I wish there was a box. I want like a Timeline mega box. Like they got the Smash Up Big Geeky box. I want the Timeline Big Nerdy box or something like that. Get on that, Asmodee. I'm sure I'll see that at Gen Con next year. Any other pros I have with it? No. It's a great game. Oh, the tin. Moving on to the cons. Some people are not going to like the tins. I personally do not like the tins, not because it's a tin, but because it's got a raised edge, which means you can't stack them on top of each other, which is a bit of a nuisance, but that's more of a minor nitpick. So overall, Timeline, Music and Cinema is a great game that I can highly recommend if you're in the market for this type of game. But I recommend the other games in the series before this one. But if you're looking for it to add an expansion, definitely check this one out. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know what is your favorite movie of all time. For me personally, it used to be Pulp Fiction, but then it got bumped out by The Departed. Now it's close. I like a lot of movies that came out. Honestly, I really like Christopher Nolan. Interstellar and Inception have just like rocketed to my top 10 movies of all time. You got the Dark Knight series. I mean, honestly, oh man, just Leonardo DiCaprio. Just anything with Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm a big fan of. You got The Island, you got The Departed, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Titanic, just fantastic movies. I'm failing to give you an answer, so I'm just going to say The Departed is my favorite movie of all time. You got a lot of great actors, a lot of great stuff, some twists, some turns, fantastic movie. Let me know in the comments below what is your favorite movie of all time. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.